everything because he's doing everything quite literally. We also got with us. Nah, for real talk. Jeff is on his way. He said he parked and he's pulling in soon, but we'll see, man. I know that Rod's probably gonna have something to say to him. This feels like the summer episode, man.
Probably.
This feels like it. But Mike, man, he was here bright and early. Shout out Mike Curtis, beat writer for the Pistons from the Detroit News. Glad to have you with us. You ready to do this drum roll with me?
I'm ready.
Hey, let's get it, man. Let's get it. Hey, yo, shout out to the legend, Detroit News, Rod Beard. Brother, what up, dog? How's it going this morning?
It's going. It's going. It's still always early. This isn't an 11 o'clock podcast that we're doing.
It's early. I found myself trying to get as much just energy containing beverages as I can get into my system. It's way different than we used to record. But Mike, how are you doing this morning, man?
Doing well. I got my water. I'm gonna cook breakfast after this. We're gonna be in good shape.
I got you, man. Hey,
that tells you everything you need to know.
Drink your
I'm gonna cook breakfast after this.
Hold on, man. You gotta tell me that. What's on the menu for breakfast then? You said you're cooking. I can't let that slide.
Just a little bacon, little eggs, little toast.
Hey, okay. Hey, like, hold on. Like, you throwing down like some of those dope diners, or is it just kind of like throwing everything in the skillet, whatever comes out?
That's it.
What'd you say?
It's probably good enough for me to eat, and that's it.
So it ain't something you would cook for the masses, man. Like if I come over, you'd probably like, yo, let's go out and get at least like a McDonald's number 2 breakfast or something.
I gotta perfect it first.
I respect it. Rod. I'm
listening.
Big time. What's good, brother?
Dang, man. That's how you make a grand appearance.
Man.
That is a grand entrance.
Jeff, what's up? Do you guys see this right here?
Yeah,
big time, man.
No, I'm not. I'm not big time. Right? I was tired.
Jeff,
listen, it was a rough morning. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I feel you on that one, brother.
I'm still adjusting to this new schedule.
Yeah, it is rough. It's rough, but it's worth it, man.
I was going down Woodward. It was like I was getting in between lanes. Wait, I'm getting here one way or another, baby.
You were driving, or the Metro car was driving?
Wait, what'd you say?
The Metro car driver was driving, or you were driving?
Oh no, I was driving.
Oh,
my little wagon. My rendezvous.
You drove yourself.
Oh yeah. I'm not that big time. We're not there yet, Rod. We're not there yet.
Are we though?
He might be.
My pockets can't afford that. I gotta drive myself.
Most of us are limited to one show. Maybe we can guest star on a second one.
Maybe.
I thought they just called you a Metro car and just said, "Hey, he's got to get that 15-minute nap between the studio and home. So get him a Uber Black or a something."
He had to pull over and get the rest.
And meanwhile, I'm over here like going to the gas station, like, dang, it's $3.70.
Sheesh.
Dang.
Oh my goodness, man. But look, Mike was just telling us, man, after this, he has a full day planned. But the most interesting thing was he was like, man, I'm about to cook myself some breakfast right after this. Right after this. Right, man, you think we can trust his cooking? We're going to have to look. We got to get this barbecue. I'm telling you, at the beginning of next summer, we're getting this barbecue thing down.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I do got to let you guys know I did get something. So we will put it together. We're going to film it. We're going to make something of it next year. It's going to be great.
Okay. All right.
But Mike, man, I think we're gonna have to rope you into this somehow. You're gonna have to cook some breakfast for us, bro. So you gotta perfect it.
If we doing barbecue, I can do hot dogs and burgers. That's about it.
Hey, let's get it. Bro, charcoal or gas?
Always charcoal.
Let's go. Let's go.
Come on.
Let's go.
I grew up on charcoal.
Go. Look, I'm gonna send you the link to those old podcasts, man. I'm gonna send it to you. All right. This was right.
We did the charcoal gas breakdown we did.
Bro, it like reached to like butcheries and other people, man. Like grill masters were tuning in. They were chiming in like, nah, man, you gotta go with the charcoal. Nah, the gas is this. It got crazy. Basketball show.
What was the consensus on that?
So when my stuff is done and I'm sitting on the side eating and y'all still messing around with coals like cavemen, trying to get it right and get the fire and get some newspaper and some sticks and twigs to build them up into a triangle to make it work. While you're still doing that, my stuff is going to be done already.
Yeah.
So
you're already cleaning up, Rod. You're already cleaning up.
Flavor, though, man.
Do what works for you, and I'll be sitting on the side eating my stuff already.
Look, we're gonna settle this. This is gonna be epic, man. We're gonna have to talk to the Midway.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to talk to
doubt.
the Midway. We're gonna have to get down there and do that. But look, guys, we got an important date coming up. That is September 26th. As we get into the basketball of it, that is media day with training camp to soon follow right after. Guys, I'm excited. That means I have a few more days that I will wear this hat. After that, you guys will see this kind of, you know, I'm rocking my LeBron up top. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it's all business, right? It's all business. Hey, you know what it is.
He goes, I got
but I will be rocking more of.
It's sweet.
Swaggles.
Okay.
Woodward Pistons and Woodward Sports gear. We got it on the way. I have some shirts for everybody. I definitely do. Just want to make sure we're paying homage to everybody that has played a very important role in the foundation of this show. But yeah, September 26th, man. I am excited. How are people feeling? Basketball's in the air, more than in the air now. It's like we're right there.
I can't wait.
Yep.
I really can't. I mean, we all the work we've been doing, the off season, talking about, you know, starting lineups, like making content. It's that type of summer where you get to the point where you're talking about, you know, is it Isaiah Stewart? Is it Nerlens Noel? And now we're here, and I can't wait, man. It's exciting. Content's just going to come to us naturally. So just want to watch some basketball. Yeah. I love football, but to have them both on it, you know, on different days, like especially during yesterday and today where there's no football on, like I love watching both sports. So I can't wait.
Yep. How you guys feeling about this, Mike? I know we talked a little bit before we went live, and you were saying you think you're ready for the season. How you feeling? Wait, do you hear him? I didn't mute it. Something going on.
I think we lost you, Mike.
Hey, Mike. Oh, okay. That's him. Hold on. Yes, Mike.
Well, I'll say this. It's
we'll let Rod go.
You're never ready for the season. You think you are, but you're never really ready. And then training camp is the appetizer to get you started. But then when you have to hit the road for those first couple of games, it's just like let's go. It's going up the roller coaster, and you get on that first hill, and then everything is just downhill and turns after that when the season starts, because it's just every day it's something. It's two stories this day. It is trying to figure out what big stories you want to do and what new pieces are there. You got to learn. It's really like the first day of school, because you're coming. I'm serious. You're coming back from summer vacation. You want to see what Saddiq worked on, what Cade worked on, how he looks. You see how they looked in Rico Hines, but that's just sort of a teaser. But you have to see what all of that looks like and how they play together, and if that chemistry really is there. So that's the thing about training camp and starting the season, is that everybody's coming back. You haven't really seen them all summer. And as a media member or a fan, you want to see, hey, what did you do different? What new clothes did you get on the first day of school? Let's see what you got.
Yep.
It's like first day of school, you're wearing your best outfit. Like you're about to see some people in that first game show out. And now I wanted to ask Mike once. I know it sucks is Mike's acting up, because I do want to ask you start off first Paolo Banchero. You know, you got the Jay Ivey, Paolo Banchero, and then you go to New York. So like you go to that Madison Square Garden. So I wanted to ask Mike, how does he feel doing that? But early in the season, it's a cool little road trip. Rod, do you still go out? Would you go out to New York?
I would not. That is this guy.
How does it feel? How does it feel?
That's him.
Is it weird for you, Rod, to like adjust to that? No, like now this season.
Don't know yet, because I haven't been. And I went to Summer League, so that was supposed to be the one that makes you feel like, okay, well, there's other stuff going on and I'm not there. Right. So now it'll just be the first games of the season. But you come to grips with all of that stuff, that when you leave, you're leaving all that behind, and you're leaving it in capable hands for Mike to be able to handle. And the best I can do is prepare him for what he's looking at. And we've already talked about, hey, well, here's how you want to attack the flights. Here's how you want to do all of this stuff. So we've looked at some of the season already to see how he's going to navigate some of that stuff. But I'm just excited for him to be able to experience all the stuff that I experienced. And I keep telling him I've been working on this thing with all of the hotels, all of the restaurants that I used to go to, so he can have that same enjoyment, or he can do his own thing. Choose your own adventure in this too. But that it's a monster thing, because you think about it and hey, I like this hotel, but this one's a little bit better, and this was closer to the arena, and this one and that one. So I'll give some recommendations, but he'll figure it out on his own. And that's the beauty of being a traveling beat writer, is just going to all of these cities and seeing all of this different stuff. And you just have stories and stories. If you put James and me in a room and Omari, we could tell you 5 stories from every city that we've been to of just this crazy thing that happened, these drunk people that were fighting, just something from every city, every single
culture
one.
of it all.
Yeah.
How is that, Mike? Now you got the first couple games. What is it? It's home to the Orlando Magic. You go away to New York, and then what is it? You go to Indiana.
Yeah. Are we good on audio?
Yeah.
You're good. You're good.
All right, cool.
Crystal clear.
So
Are you excited?
I'm pumped. We go from New York to Indiana to DC, back to Detroit. So that'll be the first road trip. For the Pistons, I think it'll be a good first test, because you get a road trip of 3 games right off the bat. And that's real essential for a young team to kind of gel and get their chemistry going. But for me personally, if we're talking about me, I think it's going to be a good test just to get used to the road experience. Like Rob was saying, like, you're going to be in so many different cities on a weekly basis. And I've been to DC, I've been to New York City. So the only city that'll be new to me is Indianapolis. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
That's awesome, brother. That is awesome. And yeah, you heard Rod. He stole your thunder a little bit with the it's going to be the first day of school. You know, what are you looking forward to as it relates to media day, training camp? And honestly, this is going to be an experience that's new for you. First day of school. Seriously.
Yeah. Anytime you're experiencing something new, I think you just want to soak it all in and be in the moment. So I think that'll be definitely my main priority. But also, I want to hear what these guys have to say. It's been a long summer. There's been a lot of change in the organization. I think it'll be vital to listen to what they're actually saying, because that'll give us an idea of what to expect probably for preseason. We want to hear what Dwayne Casey has in mind for as far as where he sees Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren and how he's going to fit in the lineup. So I think just listening to what guys got to say. And as far as training camp and practice and things of that nature, just being able to be in the PPC, getting a glimpse of what that looks like on a daily basis. I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I don't know if you remember this, Rod, when I first started getting into this now, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. Sure. You told me, listen, you said these people tell you exactly what they're thinking. They may not reveal everything, but listen to them. And as we went throughout the season, there were certain things that some people might have been, high strung on or just couldn't see, and I'm like, guys, it's going to be this because they said that, unless it's just against their track record, right? This is what's going on. And we kind of all found at least a little solace in that between Jeff, Sean, you and myself, as it relates to trying to cover this team and not necessarily trying to be the first to anything, but making sure that whatever we're reporting is something more in line with what the team is actually stating, and so that's key. That's key. And I like, Jeff and Mike, you guys echoed the same thing, being able to get in there and hearing what these players have to say. We've all been conjecturing. We've all been kind of looking at clips here and there. Now we get to get in and we get to hear what these guys have to say, what their goals and their endeavors are, what they say that they've been working on, because none of us really, really know. So it's going to be an exciting time. One more thing before we get into this CadeZone early. We're going to be profiling ESPN rankings and the article put out by, Mike Curtis over there. It was funny. I got into the deep dive last night and I was like, awesome. I'm so glad he's the person who wrote this. And Jeff sent this over to me. It
all comes full circle.
It does. And we're going to get into that. It's a good piece of work too. It is. And there's some other tidbits in those rankings that I thought were very interesting, and I actually have a gripe with. But the draft age, is there anything of consequence to that as it relates to the Pistons, their strategy, how it affects, obviously it's going to affect some things. I'm personally really, really excited with it, seeing the way that they utilize and use their G League team, the Motor City Crews.
Mhm.
Being out at the open tryouts, I got to see and hang out with Mike Curtis for a little bit. It was a fun time. It was a fun time. But being able to see Troy there, being able to see, Rob Murphy, being able to see DJ Baker, and hearing the language, hearing how these guys are saying, hey, we're connected. We're here to build a solid foundation and to make sure that these guys, like we talked about Luka Garza, these guys are able to step up and fill in. Derek Walton, we talked about games that they beat, San Antonio, where those G League guys stepped up and knew what to do. And so I look forward to it because there are players in the past where maybe they don't take a flyer on them. Maybe they don't sign them to their G League team, that now it kind of opens up some options for them to get some guys that they can develop and see long term, or they can become fixtures of the city. So wanted to get you guys take on it at all. The draft age, the talk of it potentially in the CBA being lowered from 19 to 18.
Well, I think it's more of you're being able to draft, because I think somebody might have drafted Jalen Duren last year. Just if you're taking a flyer on a second round guy and he's 18 and you think he can be something, then you don't need that year at Memphis to kind of show that. You can just put him on your G League team, and that helps the player because they get a little bit of cash for that too, or whatever signing bonus you want to give them. But then it's also you're banking on potential in general when you're drafting a guy that young anyway. So to your point, you are putting him in the G League and you're seeing what's there, or you might want to put him overseas if you can do that. But that's really the upshot of that, and being able to get a guy a little bit earlier, and you don't have to deal with the college stuff and he's there on a sham. He's just not really going to class. He's just waiting to be drafted. If he's good enough, then you're going to draft him, and you'll see what you can do with that.
Yep. Mike, any words on it?
Yeah, and to my understanding, I think there's actually two parts to this rule. They're thinking about lowering the age from 19 to 18, but they haven't even considered the part where it says they have to be 1 year removed out of college. So I think they're still wrestling with that other part about being removed out of college. So if so, that's still, it allows you to draft someone that's 18, but they still have to go to college at least. But I think they're still stalling on talks about that. But I think it's definitely a good rule, but you got to realize everybody's not going to be that sensational talent coming out of high school, like Kobe, like LeBron, like Dwight Howard, KG, all these guys. There were guys that came out of high school, like Josh Smith. He didn't pan out to be the generational talent, but he was still a decent player. So I think if the Pistons or if any franchise is able to get anyone that can be remotely like that, I think they'll be in good shape. But you got to remember, these are kids come fresh out of high school, banging bodies with grown men. So I've seen a lot of chatter online that's saying this rule was made for Bronny James and Bryce James, and it's like they're not going to be their father from an athletic standpoint. I don't think so. That's way too big of an expectation to put on those kids. But if they're able to be some decent NBA players, I think it'll work out just fine.
Yeah. And just to touch on that just a little bit, I remember seeing LeBron James physically, athletically, he was something different in high school even than what his children are right now. That's no knock or diss on them. To see what they're doing right now, they look like fine basketball players. Like they're actually taking it serious. But LeBron James was that once in a generational talent. Everybody and their mom knew, take him number one in any league. He could have just went for baseball, football. Did you just take him? Tennis, take him. I don't even care if you can hit. We'll figure it out. We'll teach you how to hit the ball.
No, back when I was covering high school stuff, he was playing Detroit Redford. And Redford went to I think that was Manny Harris's team. I want to say it was Manny Harris's team. And they went to play at the University of Akron. So I drove down there to see that game, and Bron he had like 35. It was like an easy, smooth 35. And his post-game press conference was like an NBA press conference. This dude is like 17, and he's having an NBA style.
You gotta check his birthday. You're like, wait.
At a podium. What high school kid has a presser at a podium? It's not his announcement. It's a post-game presser against some random team from Detroit.
From Redford,
and he's having a presser, and he has handlers who are calling on people to ask questions. That dude was different from the beginning, man. He was completely different.
He was the chosen one. I mean, for me, I like this a lot. We'll see what happens with it, but also it seems like coming out of high school, it's almost like free agency. Like you can go to G League, you can go to college because you can get paid anywhere. Like that's why lowering the draft age now is just like for me, if you're coming out of college, guys like LeBron, I mean, not just physically, but mentally, like his maturity at that age. I mean, look at Zion Williamson. Physically, like he probably could have came right into the league.
Yeah.
Mentally, it's a different thing. But playing 1 year at Duke, not getting paid, like risking a chance to suffer a significant injury and risking your future family's fortune because you wouldn't have went number 1 overall. Like that stuff does play into a lot of kids' minds. But overall, it's to me like if you could still go to college for 1 year, get paid, and then raise your draft stock. Like for me, if you coming out of high school and you want to enter the NBA draft and you're a second-round pick, why not? If you feel like the player's not physically ready, because a lot of players now, dude, I feel like like back then, I feel like guys were playing sports. You play all sports all year round. Now it's like people are playing basketball. Kids are playing basketball at such an early age, and they're staying committed to only basketball. That by the age, while they're in high school, not only are they physically ready, but like their game is so much more advanced than it was back in the day. That like kids are ready to come out now. Like Scoot Henderson, Scoot played in the G League last year. What, like 17? Like 18, and he played well against grown men.
It's crazy today.
I'm glad it's finally coming around. But overall, just looking how less physical the NBA is now, like compared to back then when JR, I mean, you mentioned Kobe, Garnett, guys were coming into the league out of high school. I think that's also a good thing for people because 18-year-old kid coming into the league facing grown men, like as physical as the NBA used to be. I mean, you're throwing them out to the wolves, and guys are able to survive. I mean, great players, but still, I like it overall. It's just I love how more high school kids, good players, have more options. It's like essentially free agency in a way, if you look at it.
That was the word on my mind, was options. It gives them options, especially with. I'm hoping that there can be some way that the NCAA and the NBA can get together and kind of hybrid this thing to some degree. I don't know what the minor league baseball system is, but I know some of these kids are still able to attend school and such. I know Shaden Sharp was at a school. I believe if they somehow allow these students to still be ambassadors of the schools that they go to, they're going to do it with them as soon as they become NBA players anyway.
They do it in the
LeBron
NHL
James with
too.
Ohio State?
Well, they'll draft a player and he'll still play college, and then you join the team after like a year. But the NBA is just different in terms of like if you're ready, you're ready. Like
you are.
You know what I mean? It's just
but with them lowering it, it is going to create a different influx of talent and a lot of people that are just kind of there. You know what I mean? And that's what I was saying. If there was some way that the one thought that came to my mind just as they continue to flesh this out was maybe they could find a way to still get them their affiliation with a college, get them if they choose some aspect of education while they choose if they're going to be a G League player or a college player, still allowing them their options and whatnot, but allowing them the opportunity to have some security. So if the colleges, if an NBA team is like, you know what, I really like that player, but I would love to see him one more year, then you can draft his rights, but allow him to then still kind of be in school. Now, those rights obviously would have to come with some type of protection for that player while they're in college. But I believe that this way, the NCAA, whether that player plays or not, Shaden Sharp was still a name. He still was pulling attention to his school. And if you walk into this that way, like, hey, let's PR and market this thing this way from the head on, not, oh, we got this player, he's going to play for us. Now he's not playing, but at least he's still a big name. We can still get some pub out of this. I believe it can really work. It can really work. And you'll see more guys, honestly, coming away, I believe, with certifications and degrees and things of that nature sooner than when you see them generally come out 10 years, 15 years from now to finish something that they started. So I don't know. That's my kind of long talk on it. It was just a thought, an idea that kind of came to mind when I first heard it. Because I know at the NCAA, especially when Mike brought up that notion of 1 year removed from college, that seems like something to not just protect players, but the NCAA was probably like, hey, well, we need our system matters too, So
let me get them for 1 year.
Yeah. Any more comments on it?
Yeah, okay.
Another part of it too they're adding is the allowing, mental health to be an actual, like, I guess you could add it to the injury report. And I actually like that because I feel like the NBA, at least lately, I mean, besides the Robert Sarver stuff, they've been pretty proactive. I mean, they've always been like that. So I love that. I mean, players like Kevin Love, DeMar DeRozan, they kind of like help pave the way for that stuff. I mean, to be honest with you. But I love that the NBA is doing that.
Yeah,
because a lot of other leagues aren't at that point yet.
It matters. It really, really, really matters, and
more than just athletes, man.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you talked about the different athletes that took the time to pin that. I know what the Players Tribune, where they both went and pinned some articles on mental health, the effects, and how just the rigors of the NBA, the injuries, the ups, the downs, and all those things play significant roles, especially the personal life, which a lot of people don't get to see.
Right.
So that's a good point. But let's get into this CadeZone. Cade rises to number 35 in NBA rankings via Mike Curtis of the Detroit News. Was there anything that stuck out to you guys? Do you guys see the full rankings and whatnot? You have the full rankings?
I can pull them up. I have them on my phone.
The thing that sticks out is that it seems very random, that it's sort of just guys all over the place.
They said you'll never be more than that.
And I think it was Clay was the one that kind of, where was Clay? 37. So the way that people look at these rankings is they'll say, hey, Cade's ranked higher than Klay Thompson. And it's sort of on it, when you look at it like that, it's sort of, well,
yeah.
Well, that's kind of weird. That's odd. And Fred VanVleet, if you look at Fred VanVleet and then Clay, everybody's going to take Clay. Everybody's going to say Clay's the better player. So these rankings are just kind of, it's weird to say these are rankings. And it's a year-to-year ranking. It's not a comparison of this player versus that player. And I know people get caught up on 2K rankings, and I got an 86 and I got an 84. This seems just somewhat arbitrary. So I take these with kind of a grain of salt, because it is one person's opinion, or in this group, in this case, it's a group of guys, and they just kind of put all their little blurbs with it, and somehow they just ranked all of this stuff together. It's not a numerical ranking. It's just very arbitrary.
Yeah, I'm just glad, and this isn't just me being petty, but the fact that he's ranked above Scotty and Evan Mobley. Listen, I'm just pointing that out because, listen, I was told, guys, I was told all season.
Get him, Jeff.
I was told all season he was the third best rookie. All right, so like I'm glad that was kind of corrected, but other than that, I got no problem. I mean, the Klay Thompson thing, like, Rod's so right about this. I mean, some of these things you can't really like Zion Williamson being 40, like the guy LaMelo Ball being 41. I mean, you take it with a grain of salt, but as soon as I noticed that little small detail, I'm like, ooh, they know ball. They know ball.
Yeah, it matters if it's about Cade Cunningham. It's exactly 100% right.
And I love Evan Mobley and Scotty, but listen.
Yeah, it's like Rob was like, hey, guys, take this with a grain of salt. Okay, it's 35.
I know, I'm like, take it with a grain of salt. Wait, hold up. Cade's ranked above Scotty and Evan?
This never happens. This doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
All last year, we talked about this. Why is he getting disrespected? Why is he not getting any notice? The national guys must not be paying attention. And Rod, bro, I think they took a summer to pay some attention.
So here's the thing. It's very intentional to me that Mobley's 36 and Cade is 35. They didn't want to create a lot of space between them. It wasn't like 35 and 42. Yeah. It's like, hey, we'll make it a debate, and we'll put them right next to each other. And then we'll put Scotty Barnes. Barnes was what, 39, 40? 39.
39,
we'll put all three of them close together, so there won't be too much of a fuss about it. But Cade is going to be 35. Cade wasn't going to be 39, and Scotty was going to be 35. It wasn't going to be that.
No.
Yeah, nah. Nope. And I see. I was largely fine with where Cade was ranked. Obviously, I was hoping he would be ranked the top 50. Personally, we talked about this. We kind of bantied this, kind of threw on this pod a couple times when we got into the CadeZone early.
That's a big deal, man.
It is a big deal.
We're not sitting here. I'm not going to sit here and be like, Cade should be higher. Like, the fact that he's on this list at 35 is like, that's what you want.
But Saddiq Bey, man, I think
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
Look at you know.
I knew it was coming.
Why am I letting this matter to me? I don't
I knew it
know.
was coming.
But Saddiq Bey, I don't think is viewed like nationally as he is locally yet.
Skip these people.
Yet. That's the question. Yet. That's the key part.
They're cool with Cade, but this Saddiq Bey take, man, I'm not for it, bro. I looked at even the people. I'm like, there's no way y'all sat in a room and said this, like these players above Saddiq Bey, man. I just hold on, Rod. Here, Wusa again, man. Wusa again. He said these things don't really matter unless it's Cade at 35, right?
And apparently Saddiq, there's another one that.
Goodness, man. Bro, they got Keegan Murray.
I was just looking at Keegan Murray, like, okay.
Wait,
right.
what?
Yeah, Keegan Murray on there.
Hold up, Rod. Maybe it does matter. Why? Why is he?
So two things I knew were going to happen. Two things I knew Brandon would say, "Where's Saddiq?" I knew that was one. And when he saw Keegan Murray, he was going to say, "Where's Jabari Smith?" Two things.
Wow.
Brother,
Let me see.
Bro,
They got this based off preseason.
bro, they got Keegan at number 95.
Hold up. They got Keegan at.
Two things I knew were going to happen, Jeff. Two things.
Yeah. So I think they're based off projections of where they think the players are going to be.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that. That hurts even more.
So they have Keegan Murray being a better player year one than Kevin Love is right now.
Yes.
That's interesting. I mean, that's fine.
Better than year 3 Saddiq Bey.
Oh my God.
Yo, I told y'all, I don't know
better than
Saddiq
year
Bey
3
personally,
Saddiq Bey.
but he's such a cerebral player. There's got to be some tick that's like, I know these don't matter, but they will next year.
Grain of salt, Brandon. Grain of salt.
He's got the
Just a grain of salt. Just take this is to create content for blogs. It is not to be taken that seriously.
Yeah.
And I feel like am I weird to say this, that I feel like some of these are a little controversial because they know people will talk about them. Like
They have to be.
Yeah.
They have to be.
is that an actual thing? Because we're talking about it right now. So it's like
anytime you do something for 12 years consecutively, you getting a rise out of people for the past decade plus.
Yeah.
So
I feel like he was a specific, like, let's leave Saddiq Bey off because we know that.
Oh my God.
All right.
Yeah. I definitely feel like Saddiq should have been on this list. Anytime you can average 16 and 5 in the season and drop 50 on any occasion, I think you definitely deserve to be among the league's best. But like I said, I think it's the local factor that plays into it. Not a lot of people have paid attention to the Pistons in recent memory, but we'll see if they get a little bit more national attention this season. But in terms of Cade, I think it's really important or significant that he was at 76 last year before he even played his first game, and now he's at 35. So that's a 41 place jump. And one thing that was pretty interesting to me, everyone under Cade, at least until 26 is where they ended. Drew Holiday, All-Star. Zach LaVine, All-Star. DeMar DeRozan, All-Star. Brandon
Get him, Mike.
All-Star.
Get him, Mike.
Pascal Siakam, All-Star. Chris Middleton, All-Star. Andrew Wiggins, All-Star. Kyrie Irving, All-Star. And Marcus Smart, Defensive Player of the Year.
Get him.
So that just goes to show you the trajectory that Cade is probably on right now.
I like that, bro.
That's
like
my
that
young guy. That's my young guy right here. That's my young guy.
I like that because, Mike, in the article you stated, Cunningham showed the ability to do a little bit of everything on the floor after averaging 17.4, 5.5, 5.6. And that was something that we were wondering, are people looking? Are people noticing? Are people watching? And I know that when you just look at the stats in a vacuum, you see the 17, 5, and 5. But when you start to dissect in the second half of that season, especially post All-Star break, more concentratedly, you see the trajectory. You see a guy that should probably be number 35. And I know this. Cade did enough that when these guys actually sit down to do their homework, he's a guy that you can't really create a lot of controversy with. You can potentially say, well, we'll put Evan Mobley maybe ahead of him, maybe. But that's about the most controversy that could really be there. It's not like you can put Cade 76 again. You know, Jalen Green, I saw Houston Rockets Twitter. They were like, what? All these other rookies moved up. Evan Mobley wasn't even ranked. Our guy is still in the same place.
That's how it is. Every fan base is, man.
All of them, man.
So here's the other thing too, is that even with Cade where he is, it's based off of you can look at Rookie of the Year and say you have to consider the whole season. And Cade had a really, really slow start. But this ranking looks to be based more on that trajectory, as Brandon said, and how he finished the season and how that's going to continue into next season, as opposed to one particular data point. And with Mobley was just solid all the way through. And Barnes he's on a playoff team. So, okay, there's something that's there. And there's that narrative that he led them or helped them to the playoffs. Bro, you got 2 other all-stars on that team. You can do quite a bit, but so I think that's part of what goes into what these rankings are too, is looking at Cade carried this team and had those numbers, and toward the end of the season got better and better and better, and that's going to carry over.
Yep. And another thing here, you have something you want to say?
Well, I have to head out, unfortunately. All right. Next, I promise. Next time, I swear to God, I'm gonna wake up at like 4 a.m. because I ain't doing this again. All right.
So Jeff, do you have a golf cart that comes and picks you up right off set there and takes you to the next set you go to?
Well, actually, yes, and then they fan me while I'm in the golf.
Is there a cheese platter? Do you have a charcuterie board that you get to pick off of on the way to the next show?
No, they don't treat me like Rod when I go to the Pistons facility. All right, I don't got that Rod treatment yet. I'm getting there though. I'm getting there.
Trying to get to that legendary status.
I need the shout out from Troy.
Let's go.
I do.
Let's go.
Hey, I appreciate you guys.
Hey, bro.
Jeff, always pleasure.
Everything. Jeff, Freddie. Hey, look out for him on the Morning Woodward show. But Mike, you brought up something here interesting too that I'm actually glad you highlighted. You said Portland Trail Blazers forward Jeremy Grant, who spent the last 2 seasons with the Pistons, also made the list at number 64, 11 spots lower than last year. Houston Rockets guard, number 2 overall pick Jalen Green retained his place from last season's list at number 62. And I thought that was interesting with Jeremy Grant. And obviously, the projections could mean maybe he's taking on a different role. So he's not going to be asked to do as much as he was doing with the Pistons. So it might knock him down a few. But to me, the first thing that kind of popped up is maybe Troy really, really, really knows what he's doing. You know, no slight or knock against Jeremy Grant, but maybe Troy kind of knew this is probably the time to exit stage left and use this asset at its highest kind of value point to be able to go and really bolster the foundation and the youth of this team, of this Detroit Pistons team. That was an interesting one to me. I just want your quick thoughts on it since you highlighted it with Jeremy Grant there. We talked a lot about it on this show as well, his loss and what it could potentially mean. But yeah, definitely going ahead.
Yeah, I just don't think it was the right fit as far as where the Pistons want to go. They want to get younger. They want to build this young core. And as far as Jeremy goes, he's kind of a piece who needed the ball. And once the ball got to him, it kind of stuck a lot. So I think they want to have a team where the ball can move. The ball can go from Cade to Saddiq or Cade to Isaiah, and it kind of be more fluid. I think the offense is stagnant a lot, at least from what I watched. Just trying to do a little research and film study on the team from last year. So I think he'll probably be a better fit in Portland once you get him with Dame Lillard and Anthony Simons. I think those are probably going to be their main 2 offensive weapons, also with Nurkic. But I think he'll probably be a better fit there.
Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to seeing what he's going to do there. Obviously have some type of watching interest in the Portland Trail Blazers, not just because of, to see what Jeremy Grant does, but Coach Chauncey Billups there and what he's doing, everything he's trying to, get accomplished. And I know some Pistons fans, they got that hope that one day Chauncey is the coach just kind of waiting in the wings, ready to take us into our next era of championship basketball. So it's always interesting to just see and wish those types of guys success in anything they do, except for when they play the Pistons. But yeah, with the Jeremy Grant thing, I still wonder and question sometimes, how much is going to affect us. I thought Rob brought up some great points all summer as it relates to the defensive aspect and who's going to guard those big wings. Even when we talk about guys like Isaiah Livers and others, when you just look at the measurables, Jeremy Grant was just taller. It was just bigger. His reach was just longer. And playing basketball, like on any level, you realize how much that stuff matters. And so it's going to be interesting. I think this team got tremendously more athletic, which is going to help. And on the offensive side of things, yeah, I didn't know if it was necessarily Jeremy Grant who made it stagnant, or if it was kind of the lack of options and what they might have been asking him to do. But you're right. The whole offense, it just kind of came to a slowdown. What I kind of saw shades of, or at least what I pick up from this roster right now with the makeup of the guys, is that people are kind of ready to make a play. They're looking to make a play. They're looking to make that extra pass. Even when I saw that first, I know it's just summer league, but it shows you kind of the instincts of these guys. That first play, that pass to Jaden Ivey, I honestly thought he was going to put up a floater. It's just, hey, let me get mine real quick. Let me get this shot off. That's kind of some of the stuff we talked about. We saw him doing in college. But the first play was instead a lob up to Jalen Duren, and everybody was hype. And you just saw these guys coming, just trying to make the right passes. Some of them tried to make some fancy passes. I even saw Jalen Duren in that interior making some good drop passes. I can't wait to see what this team is going to be. I know, like just everybody else. But you know, the Jeremy Grant thing I thought was interesting. I'm glad that you highlighted it, as well as the Saddiq Bey stuff. When I saw that, hey, Saddiq Bey's left off the list, I was like, oh man, now I gotta go give ESPN a click. Oh my goodness. And Rod, yeah, it seems like we've been doing this a long time now. If you definitely knew it was gonna get me riled up.
The first rodeo.
Definitely, man. Anything else that stuck out to you about this list, Mike? Anything you wanted to highlight from this? Anything else from your article?
I'm actually looking forward to the rest of the list. I know number 25 through 11 will be announced today, 10 through 6 tomorrow, and then the top 5 is going to be on Friday. So, you know, that's always the biggest debate in the NBA. Who's the top 5 player? Who's the best player in the league? You can go either way. I think right now you can go Giannis, you can go KD when healthy. You can even go Steph now that he's gotten that 4th ring and first Finals MVP. So I'm interested in seeing who they put there.
So you're telling me that there's still a chance, there's still time for Jabari Smith and Saddiq Bey to make
it? So you would go crazy if Saddiq was ahead of Cade. You would go bananas.
That I would. Oh my word, I would. Man, you're right.
If Saddiq is in that group, trust me, you'll be getting another article today.
Hey, you'll be doing an emergency podcast. You would do an emergency like,
it would be linked sent out immediately.
Let's go.
I need everybody right now.
You're not getting Jeff though. You're done with Jeff. He's not coming back.
Oh man, I love this stuff, y'all. Goodness gracious, I can't wait for the season to get here. But hey, you guys in the comments, let me know. You got any gripes with the list? Where do you believe Saddiq Bey is supposed to be listed? Where do you think he's going to end? You know, where do you think at the end of this season, if they had to do this list at the end of the season, where's Saddiq Bey going to be? Where's Cade Cunningham going to be? And is any other Piston going to make any impact? Because Evan Mobley was not ranked. Some of these guys that are on the list weren't ranked. Are any of our rookies going to make an impact to at least be ranked low or make a big jump into that top 35 or top 40, similar to Evan Mobley and Scotty Barnes? You know, do we believe Jalen Duren and Jaden Ivey can do it? And I guess before we move on, that will be the last question I ask you all as well. Evan Mobley was unranked. Jalen Green, he didn't drop. He at least kept his same ranking in that top 100. Do you all believe that by next season when this list comes out, you know, either Jaden Ivey or Jalen Duren have an opportunity to be on that list as, you know, rookies going into their second year?
Opportunity, yes, but it's going to be rough sledding to get there, because really only how many rookies from last year? 4, 5 are on this list.
4, and then Keegan Murray's on there, I think.
Keegan and Paolo are on there.
And Paolo?
Yeah, so it's you got to be in the top 2 or top 3 of that class for next year for Jaden or for Jalen. I think it's going to be really tough. For Jaden Ivey, I think it's going to be a little bit easier, but it's still going to be tough. You got to be one of the top guys and have a really, really good year to crack into getting into this list for next year, because it's so many good players and so many good veterans. And even at the bottom of this list, when you get in the 90s, you're still talking about some really good players. And Ben Simmons is what, in the 70s, I think it was.
Wow.
Yeah. 60s maybe. Yeah. But
yeah, I think so. Let me see.
He'll have an opportunity to play and get better too.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's not like the rest of the league is just going to lay down and say, here you go, Pistons guys. You guys are coordinated. Let's just let you go on ahead. You got your Cade Cunningham. Now, if anything, they're probably sitting out here still like, I don't know what all the noise is about, if there's any. They're probably just going out there with their own hype, trying to make sure that they land on these lists, trying to make sure their guys are having the same type of success that we're hoping our guys are going to have.
Yeah, they're like Saddiq who?
Yeah. Saddiq
Real quick, spoiler alert, 25 through 11 was just released, and Saddiq is not on that list.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so not on the list, but he's not above Cade Cunningham. So, you win some, you lose some. I'll let those balances kind of just negate themselves, man.
Hey,
it's like
you can still hold out hope. There's still 1 through 10 left.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I'm gonna do that. Saddiq Bey, man. Saddiq Bey. We're going to get you there. If not this year, next year, you definitely will be on there. It's just the way he works, too. And I keep feeling like Saddiq Bey, I don't know, the hunch I get is just he's the type of person who, not necessarily that he is going to allow things to necessarily deter his progress or knock him off or get him to the points that I may get over some of these things, but that he takes his progress and his goals and his success seriously. That is something he just absolutely works at, man. So I don't know. I hope that though you don't endeavor to make their list, you endeavor to make sure people know you're a really, really, really good basketball player who works really hard. And I'm glad that at least on this level, Rod, you've had the opportunity to be able to tell some of that story. And I'm hoping Mike, you, and I know Jeff and I and Sean from Half Court, we're all going to make sure we kind of push that story and that narrative to make sure people know that's what we're supposed to do. Report on these guys, make sure that the city, the fans, as many other people who are going to be going in to do their deep dives in their YouTubes to try and figure out who these players are, that they can see that this narrative is something that needs to be applied to Saddiq Bey, and that after next year, I personally believe we're not going to be having any gripes about Saddiq Bey and these types of lists moving forward. If he can make any type of improvement defensively, I know he slimmed down a little bit, and I'm hoping we see some improvement that play out on the defensive side. I believe we'll see him firmly listed in this list, because I saw some guys there that I didn't believe offensively were better than him, but defensively I was like, okay, maybe there's some metrics here that they are, valuing, that Saddiq Bey needs to just take another step forward in. But overall, I believe next year, I think this is the last year that I gripe about Saddiq Bey not being on this list.
Yo, this list is wild.
Yeah. Are you
Karl Anthony Towns is 13.
What?
Karl.
Oh, you talking about the top 20? You talking about the new list, the 25?
Yeah. I didn't want to bring anything up because I know it wasn't Pistons related. But
Karl Anthony
no, it's all good, bro.
Is 13. Wow,
it's all good, bro. Hey, Mike, this is just us, man. We're gonna cover the Pistons and and the NBA, man. It's all a part of it.
they wild out here. Karl Anthony Towns is good. He's not ahead of Dame or PG.
Auto insurance that flexes with
that's crazy. That's wild.
That's crazy.
That's wild. Anthony Davis is 20 and Karl Anthony Towns is 13. That's wild.
Yeah.
What do they think Cad's going to be doing this season? Like I've always thought he was good, but in terms of that upper of the upper, I never felt that. I felt like he had to prove that.
Chris Paul is 21. And I think Trae Young is, let's see.
Trae Young?
I need to see this. Kawhi is 12.
Rudy Gobert is 18.
Rudy?
Ahead of Bradley Beal. Ahead of AD. Yeah.
I didn't even notice that he wasn't on the other list. and I just wasn't assuming Rudy Gobert was going to show up on this necessary list.
Kawhi is 12 and Beard is 11. And Cat is 13. This list is wild. Wow. And Dame is 14.
But I was like, man, I wanted to talk about it, but I ain't know.
I got to close this window. Man. I
So
can't
who's
look
left? KD, Giannis, LeBron, Jokic.
Did you say Luka?
Luka. Yeah. That final 10 is gonna be interesting.
That's gonna be interesting. When are they releasing that one, Mike?
The next 5 will be tomorrow. The last 5 will be Friday.
Yeah,
That's
we'll definitely talk about this next week. We'll definitely talk about this.
Man.
That's interesting, man. I believe that we're gonna see some serious shakeups in this list come next year, man.
Ja is gonna be on there.
Yeah.
Oh, Ja in that top 10.
Did I see Devin Booker?
I didn't see Devin Booker.
I didn't see Book. No.
I can see them putting him up there.
So Book wasn't in the 75, and Book is not in this. So Book got to be in the top 10 then.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I actually can dig that, man. I'm a big Devin Booker fan. I'm gonna continue to hold out hope. Devin Booker, bro, come home. You saw Mike Curtis, he came home. Come home, Devin Booker. Come home. Look how happy Mike looks. Just look at him.
Hey, let's give him a couple weeks. Let's give him to the start of the regular season.
I have a few more gray hairs than I have right now.
We will do weekly wellness checks on him throughout training camp.
We have
into the season.
This is gonna be awesome, man. It's gonna be awesome, bro. You got to bring the stories too. I wanted to look. We're gonna come back to that list next week. We definitely are. Sheesh, man, that list is crazy. Let me get off this. All right. I wanted to get into just quickly before we close, just into some more of the player evals. Man, this whole list. All right. We went through like the regular rotation guys, and I feel like there were some other guys that we had left out. I know we have some fun with Corey Joseph, Kojo, and all that such, but we haven't actually talked about the role that the vets are going to play collectively or individually, their potential contributions and such. And I wanted to just get your thoughts on it, Mike and Rod, and Jeff on the next show is going to give his thoughts on it as well. But we talked about Kojo, we talked about Kelly Olynyk, we talked about Rodney Magruder, Nerlens Noel, and Mike and Rod. They slapped me on the hand as I forgot that Alec Burks is also a veteran as well. But I just wanted to start with you, Mike, get your thoughts on these vets, their roles, their contributions, because it seems to always be something. Fans come into these seasons, I don't know what they're expecting. I don't know what they believe is going to be different. You know what I mean? As it relates to Dwayne Casey and his style, he employs a certain number of vets in different aspects and has them, looking over this team from different, positions, whether it's playing, whether it's, mentoring, educating, being coaches out there on the floor, helping these guys personally so that they can get through and learn the rigors of the basketball life, because it's first day of school for some of these young guys as well. I wanted to get your thoughts on it because you were saying some interesting things earlier before we went live about it. But definitely, man.
Yeah, I think you brought up a good point in terms of which vets will be playing, which vets will be mentoring, and kind of using their voice to kind of help these young guys out. And I think from the playing perspective, I think Alec Burks will probably have the best chance to get out there and contribute the most right away, just because of his ability to shoot three-pointer. Anytime you have a guy who can shoot 40% from three on a team who finished near the last in the league in three-point shooting, you got to play that guy. Corey Joseph, he has experience playing the point guard position. He has a championship. Anytime you can get that experience and kind of use that when Cade should pretty much always have it going. That's what we're expecting. But right. If Ivy isn't ready to go, or if Killian doesn't have it going, you can bring in a guy like Corey Joseph to come in and buy you a few minutes. Nerlens Noel, I think that's one of the big question marks. Are we going to see Nerlens at all? But when he's healthy, he's a lob threat. He's a rim protector. He's one of the most athletic bigs in the league when healthy. So I think it'll be interesting to see how he fits on this team with Marvin Bagley, with Isaiah Stewart, with Kelly Olynyk, who also can shoot the 3 ball as well. So I think it's only a matter of time. That's probably going to be one of the big questions that we ask at Media Day. What role are these vets going to play? So I'm interested in seeing what Dwayne Casey has to say about that.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to me, it's seeming like from just a rotational standpoint, Kelly O and Alec Burks might find themselves more as veterans that are playing more regularly in that rotation. I know Nerlens Noel, we don't know what necessarily to expect. We do know that Kelly O was brought here to play. We know that Alec Burks still has a lot left in the tank. What's interesting here on Basketball Reference, and I know you take these things with a grain of salt, but the projections for Kelly O on the year, they're pretty interesting to me at 16.8 points a game, 8.4 rebounds, 4.2 assists per 36. Do you believe he can have any type of impact that he had? I see his stats here from the previous 3 years, Toronto, Miami, and Houston. Do you believe he can have a bigger impact this year if he's healthy than he did last year in the games that he played? I know his numbers, they weren't the best, but they weren't horrible. 9 points a game. He was hitting about 33% from 3, which was down from the previous year. So just try and get a feel for where you think Kelly O is headed.
Yeah, he only played 40 games though last year, so it's a questionable sample size to try to compare to other years. But
they tremendously less minutes per game too.
Yeah, what did he play last year? 19.
19
compared to 30. So he was hurt for a chunk of the year. The COVID stuff kind of threw him off, because even when he was trying to get back on track, then
that's right,
the COVID stuff threw him off. And so then that's when the train just kind of kept moving with Isaiah Stewart starting to take on a bigger role in those guys. So I think they want to use him a lot. They want to have him be the perimeter player. And so that's just how quickly things change from the beginning of last year when you pick up Kelly O and the roster changes between last year and now getting a Jalen Duren and a Nerlens. Sometimes, I don't want to say stuff passes you by, but the roster just evolves enough where the minutes that we thought were there for you may not be there as plentiful as they were when they signed him. And so you just find a spot, you try to get the best that you can, and maybe that 19 minutes is closer to what he plays than the actual 30 that he played the year before in Houston. So I think they'll look at him, they'll use him. The flexibility we talked about with this roster and what they're able to do with some sets is going to be critical because he's probably the best perimeter big in terms of his passing and everything, the whole package. He's probably the best full package big they've got. So you can just kind of lean on that and see what they want to do with it. And again, that's what training camp is for, is you start seeing what that looks like, start seeing how many minutes he plays with that first group or with the second group, or if he plays at all with any of those. And what we were talking about this earlier, what the players say at training camp is key. But when you go back and you listen to what Casey and Weaver have said in training camps before, they don't hold you up at all. They will tell you exactly what they think and the roles for some of these guys. By the time you get through training camp, that stuff is pretty much stuck throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah. And I'm looking at just more of Kelly O's stats from last year, man. He, in the minutes, he held up pretty well. His minutes got cut in half. His stats looked like they were cut in half. Some of his shooting numbers dipped just a little bit. And we know that trying to find your footing through injury, through COVID and things of that nature, it's not going to be the easiest, but he probably is the vet that I'm looking forward to seeing play the most. Now, Alec Burks is somebody that I continue to hear that guy can shoot it. That guy's coming in to play basketball. He's not coming in here to just kind of lunch. He thinks he's a hooper. He's gonna go out there and show that he can still hoop. And I look forward to that. But with Kelly O, he's a player that when he was signed here, the expectation, like you stated, Rod, it was something much different. Obviously, Troy Weaver is not the type of guy who's going to rest on his laurels. He was like, I drafted a guard last year, you say, my first year. I drafted a guard my second year. I drafted a guard my third year, you say. He's a madman. I love it. I got Isaiah Stewart here. I got Kelly O. How about a Jalen Duren to go with that? I love that type of stuff, but it puts the Pistons in a position where they have options. We know, and you said this too, that there may be a couple changes on this team by the trade deadline. That this team might not get to the end of the season without a couple changes being made. And what the Pistons do have is the option to take some of these players who have shown, even in reduced minutes like Kelly Olynyk, that they're still serviceable players. They're still really good players. I think the key thing for Kelly and for this team, though, is if he's comfortable here as a vet, if he gets along, if he's doing well in his minutes, and this team is progressing along, can he be a Kevin Love of sorts to this team? The way that Kevin Love has kind of seen the Cavs kind of usher some of their bigs in and be the vet from that role who can still come out here and get buckets if necessary. That's one thing I know Kelly O can do. He'll go out there and give you some buckets and spurts. And I love his handling and all that, his ball handling, his creative ability, his ability to rebound the ball. That was something that was tough to watch for a few years there with some of our bigs and some of our wing players. The rebounding aspect just wasn't the best. So I don't know. I look forward to seeing Kelly O kind of, if the Pistons see fit, kind of being in that type of a role. And if not, they have options because they also have Marvin Bagley, among other bigs. Troy has set himself up much nicer than when he just had Trey Lyles and Josh Jackson to kind of work with. For trade options. Yes, sir.
Can we talk about the oldest player on the roster, the most veteran player on the roster?
Let's get to it.
Kemba Walker? No? Okay.
Ooh, Rod, take it away, brother.
No,
what is going on?
That was just a rhetorical question that he's still here and training camp starts on next week. And
was he on that tour around the city yesterday?
I don't even know. But does he show up to training camp? Because that's going to be awkward.
Well, I've tried to not even let myself think Kemba Walker. Like, seriously,
that's going to be awkward if he's at media day and he's got to ask questions about how does it feel to be a Piston. And I'm just saying that was it. I'm not breaking any news or anything else. That's just.
No, I got you.
What is that like with Kemba in media day?
That's gonna have to be a big part of our talks next week. Obviously, we'll get some a lot. Our next week's episode is gonna be heavy about media day, heavy about training camp, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on with Kemba Walker. Man, I have no idea.
Does he even show up? That's my question. Does he even show up at media day?
I was one of the ones when it first went down to say, hey, you know what? This is one of those aging stars or aging, good basketball players that I would not mind if he could do or give us anything, seeing what he could give us. But instantly the reports were like, oh, he's going to get cut or traded or this or that. But then he just continued to linger. And I've continued to say, nope, I'm not thinking it. No Kool-Aid for me on this one. But the longer it lingers, I'm just like, what is going on?
We'll see. We'll have answers on Monday.
We'll see. Hey, look, my favorite vet, Kojo. And you know what? Birmingham Magruder. Shout out to him, man. We see him around. We just see him walking. The guys get pictures with him like all the time, man. He's the coolest guy. Shout out to Rodney Magruder. But Kojo, Corey Joseph, he's the guy that I've seen all the fans, Rod, do a 180, as we bring this thing to a close. They've all gone to, now that Kojo is in his proper role, we love Kojo. We've always loved Kojo. All the fans are saying this. They're like, yo, he's a great guy. Like the things that you were telling us about him all summer. I hear people saying this stuff now. I see it on Twitter. We see it in the comments, man. We hear it just in conversation. And just a couple limited opportunities to see him. Hey, when he walked in, it seemed like all the guys knew, all right, the fun is here at the Grand Classic. It was different, man. When he was leaving, it was just a different light. He was messing with fans and cheesing for, and for photo bombs behind people's pictures and such. I love what he brings to the table, and I love the fact that he's gonna come in there, put his head down, and if nobody does it, try and be the team leader in free throws attempted for this squad, man. Like, I like Corey Joseph. I like him.
No, so for Kojo, he's important because he and Magruder both, and even Alec Burks to a degree, are going to help Jaden Ivey in his transition and understanding what's going on. Kelly O will help Jalen Duren understand the nuances, and Nerlens will help with understanding the nuances of being a big man. So the veteran stuff, it's not just what they do on the court, but it's their ability to help the young guys understand what the game is like and what moves people are going to do. They've been around the league enough so they know here's the stuff that this guy does. So they can give you a scouting report a little bit better than some of the coaches might be able to do. So that's the truest value of all of this, is that you have some savvy veterans that have been around 8, 10, 12 years that are going to be able to help these young guys.
That's a crucial point. You know, when you get into the nitty gritty, it's not just showing them what coach is trying to say. It's not just showing them where to be on the court. It's also showing them the game within the game, the different nuances of players, the stuff that made players like, you know, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, the details of the game. That's what made it important. That's what made those guys good and great. You know, so when you can have players like that can kind of, you know, with Kojo in particular, his perspective, the guys he has been able to play against and develop with in practices just from his days with Toronto and seeing different star guards in the flesh being developed, you know, right there. He's able to give that perspective as well as being able to tell them, hey, this guy may defend you this way. Because guys, just how they have pet moves offensively, they have pet moves defensively as well. If you're able to come in and tell them, hey, he likes to play or defend guards this way. Hey, he likes to open up and send you to his big this way. So when you see him open up, kick the ball to the right, that stuff is invaluable, because to a young player, you see it. We saw with Killian, a couple bad plays or a couple mistakes while you're a rookie, because you just might not even known to look for it, and you see them instantly just like, oh, I didn't see him there. You see these types of things, and it can mess with the confidence. I don't think it's gonna mess with Jaden Ivey's confidence too much. Yeah, but to have it, I believe it can definitely help his development, to have guys like Kojo in his ear about, hey, this is the league. Welcome to it.
Yep.
So, any last words, guys, before we wrap up?
No, next week will be fun, because it will be actual stuff instead of theoretical anything. It will be actual meat and potatoes that we'll have.
Bro, look at Mike's game face.
Mike's ready to go.
He's ready. Hey, bro, and that's a dope hoodie too, man. I gotta do the fit check, man.
Shout out to the Las Vegas Aces for winning the championship. Asia Wilson, GOAT. She's on her way to becoming one of the greatest.
Dope, man. I got my daughter already watching. She be running around the house with a basketball now, man. It's my whole house, man. My kids, they all run around with basketballs, dribbling. I'm like, what did I start? Hopefully it lands somewhere like that. Yes, hopefully.
Exactly.
Yeah. But hey, fellas, this was awesome, man. This was awesome. We're gonna bring this to a close. Next week is that's gonna be the meat and the potatoes. Seriously, I can't wait. Hey, for Mr. Everything over here, tune into the Morning Woodward Show to catch him every day, Monday through Friday from 8 to 10, hosting with Adam Baydoun. You can catch him there. You can catch him on the the Jeff and Gentry podcast, and really all over the place. Jeff is just trying to keep his hands busy and bring the best sports coverage he can. And for our special guest here, Mike Curtis, who we're going to have on throughout the season from the Detroit News, the Pistons beat writer. It's always a pleasure to have your knowledge, to have your composure on the show. So definitely thank you for being on with us. Any last words before we get to this drum roll, Mike?
Anytime. Just thank you for having me, and let's get the season started.
Let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. Let's get that drum roll going for the legend down there. Hey, yo, to the legend. Shout out, man. Detroit News, Rod Beard. Thank you, brother, as always. Thank you. And blessings to everybody. Let us know in the comments what you guys are looking forward to. Media Day and training camp. Also, we're about to do our first mailbag coming up here, either next week or 2 weeks. We'll see how it goes. But we're going to have some fun with it, especially after Media Day. So, hey, till next time, see you guys. We're Pistons. Let's go.